Holy crap, I need to piss people off more often. Well, it should come as no surprise by now that a little over 5 days ago, Zack Snyder went on the Joe Rogan show and pandemonium ensued all over social media and on entertainment news. Both Snyder Bros and Gun Bros alike took to the internet to defend their directorial heroes of comic book movies with one hell of a crazy-ass fervor. Snyder fans, well, they jumped to his defense instantaneously. Those crazy-ass people that don't care for Snyder's work, and that's putting it mildly, well, they labeled him as nothing more than a DC blasphemous who had the nerve to mess with the sacred vows of our most coveted DC heroes, that being Batman and Superman. In short, he turned them both into cold-blooded killers, if only for a moment. An argument that I myself don't quite really get, because if you look close at almost every major Batman motion picture that's ever been made, Keaton killed, Kilmer killed, Bale killed, Affleck obviously killed. The only ones that didn't was Clooney and Pattinson. Well, Clooney did kill the franchise, but anyways. And as for Christopher Reeve's Superman, well, he did kind of toss old Zod down a deep-ass chasm after stripping him of his powers, which I'm pretty sure killed his Kryptonian ass. So why all the hullabaloo there, sluggo? Why all the intense anger directed at Snyder for making his heroes kill? It's a debate that I think will simply go on and on until we get some form of a DC universe that is cohesive and successful again. Will Gunn provide that? Many believe that he will. Many are hoping that he will. And as I have said so many times before, regardless of what some people may think, I too hope that he will, even though I remain skeptic about it. And for two very important reasons. One, I worry that he will make it a light-hearted joke fest along the lines of his Guardians trilogy, and personally I don't want to see that happen for DC. And two, the biggest concern that I have is WB Discovery and David Zaslav. Their sketchy, manipulative reputation for doing business precedes them, and anyone watching this should know what I'm talking about. And so, as I stated at the start of this rant and ramble, Zack Snyder went on the Joe Rogan show some 5 days ago, and on YouTube it's been watched well over 1 million times already as of this writing, 1,053,655 times to be exact. And I think most of those views were because of the curiosity about his DC content. Yes, some hairs were raised about him saying Rebel Moon may or may not have been watched more times than the Barbie movie, and to be fair, that's not exactly what he stated. He said using the Netflix formula that it could have been, and that's pretty much it. I haven't seen anyone crucifying him over the lengthy conversation him and Joe had about the homosexual implications within the movie 300, or the discussion about Dr. Manhattan's Mr. Happy always being out front and center through most of the film Watchmen. No, it's almost always about his relationship in regards to DC. It's fascinating, crazy, and just a wee bit insane when you think about it, which I guess makes us all a bit crazy and a wee bit insane, because none of us here can stop our own curiosity regarding anything Zack Snyder has to say in any of his interviews. So let's just see how long this current round of Snyder curiosity will go on. Now, current news about the Oscars did seem to damper it some. And speaking of the Oscars and former DC directors, by the way, congratulations are in order for none other than Christopher Nolan. You remember him, don't you? Well, you should. He only wrote and directed the most successful DC franchise to date, and I might add what many consider to be the epitome of comic book hero films, the Dark Knight trilogy. Well, his movie Oppenheimer won for Best Picture. Nolan himself won for Best Director. Best Actor went to Cillian Murphy, and Best Supporting Actor, well, that went to Tony Stark himself, Robert Downey Jr. But wait, there's even more DC-related news regarding the 2024 Academy Awards. Peacemaker himself, John Cena, made an appearance to present the Oscar for Best Costume, and what an appearance it was. Now, I have to wonder, did James Gunn and or David Zaslav have to give their blessings on this? that they helped plan it. It wouldn't surprise me either way when you take into consideration the type of humor that has been written into the Peacemaker series in the past. Now, who knows, really, and at this point, I guess it really doesn't matter, because what's done is done, but it does make one wonder if they did have a hand in it. And if they did, well, it was one hell of a publicity stunt, because it made for one hell of a headline. Now, you want to hear some more news about Peacemaker? Well, of course you do. Well, James Gunn let it be known recently that Peacemaker Season 2 will take place after and connect directly to the events following the upcoming Superman movie. He also stated that Season 1 of Peacemaker will not be considered canon to the new DCU. Now, the reasons as to how or why any of this even makes any sense at all are locked up somewhere in James Gunn's rapidly ever-changing, vivid imagination. So when and ever, if we ever find out, only time will tell. Who knows, maybe Peacemaker will just wake up in a cold, cold sweat, only to realize that Season 1, along with how the DCEU was forced to end, was nothing more than just a very, very, very bad, sad dream. I'd like to know your thoughts on what I covered today, so if you would, why don't you leave your comments down below? And while you're at it, why don't you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next Sock Show. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. God bless, and Socks out.